I'm delighted to be here today to celebrate Canada Day with so many of you. It was only 154 years ago, in 1867, the Dominion of Canada was formed, and we've been celebrating July 1st ever since. Then, as recent as 1982, not even 40 years ago, Dominion Day became Canada Day when Canada became an independent nation. Being the young, independent country that we are begs the question, what defines us as Canadians? It quickly became apparent to me when I arrived in this country as a teenage immigrant, not speaking much English, together with my single mom and my brother. We had left our home in Germany and immigrated to Canada in pursuit of the Canadian dream, a truly democratic country that honors the rights and freedoms of its citizens, and we came for the prospect of a bright future. We were scared to death, of course, of the uncharted waters ahead, and it was much to our surprise that we were immediately embraced and welcomed with open arms. I found it particularly interesting that while Canada is comprised of over 250 different ethnic origins and ancestries, and many maintain their own culture, and yet everyone works together towards the common goal of driving this country forward. There are many characteristics that unite us as Canadians. We are proud to be inclusive. We are polite, to a fault perhaps. Which reminds me of what a friend in the US always used to say, I will never drink Canadian whiskey because then I would have to be a polite drunk. We are innovators, as there's a long list of Canadian inventions, such as the odometer, the IMAX, the walkie-talkie, insulin, the luggage tag, ice hockey, of course, and the snowblower, the electron microscope, the Canadarm used on the International Space Station, and zippers, just to name a few. Oh, and by the way, what would you do if Canada flooded? Drink Canada Dry, ginger ale, of course, another great Canadian creation. Most of all, what unites us as Canadians is our tolerance of those who are different from us and our love for democracy and freedom. The freedom to be healthy, the freedom to learn, the freedom to worship in our own way, the freedom to be safe from harm, the freedom to be economically secure, and the freedom to speak without fear. These are all reasons why people have risked their lives and continue to risk their lives to leave communist and socialist dictatorships and come to Canada, because we have the freedom to say no to tyranny. However, we are at an epic moment in Canada and the rest of the free world. Under the disguise of a pandemic, our government is trying to take away all our liberties. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Trudeau, an elitist, someone who admittedly admires China and its communist ways, and a racist, blackface, as he refers to his antics, has made that crystal clear. Everything wrong is given a voice and hence takes on a new life form. Our government has locked people into fear, is busy driving our country into the bottomless pit of bankruptcy without out-of-control spending, and yet has created the second highest unemployment rate of the G7. Our government is violating our human rights by locking up healthy travelers in forced quarantines or hotel prisons, and is persisting with closed borders. In addition, at 1:30 in the morning, a couple of weeks ago, our current administration rushed Bill C-10 through the House of Commons, allowing government to censor what we, the people of Canada, can read on the internet. In the middle of the night is when the citizens are sleeping, is when democracy dies. The only thing that stands between Bill C-10, a direct assault on our freedom of speech, and the bill becoming law is our Senate. I encourage each and every one of you, as I have done, to call or email each one of our 105 senators to ask them to vote no on this censorship bill. Hot off the press, I just read that this morning actually, yesterday, the Senate concluded its debate with a powerful speech by Senator Richards, who said, "This bill does not need amendments, it needs a stake through the heart." Yes. This bill has now been passed to a Senate committee, which will continue discussions in late September. We have dodged a bullet for now on Bill C-10, but the threat has not passed. It's important for all of us to keep putting pressure on to get this bill thrown out once and for all. The very next bill our administration introduced just over a week ago, in fact, just one day after Bill C-10 passed in the House of Commons, is Bill C-36, which is far worse than Bill C-10. This new bill, Bill C-36, is the worst attack ever against free speech in Canada and second to none of the rest of the world. In a nutshell, this bill allows our administration to criminalize everyone who disagrees with their tribalist vision. Whatever happened to rational debate, respecting dissident opinion, a willingness to reason and compromise? Clearly, our Charter of Rights and Freedom is under attack by our current administration. Liberalism is defined as a political philosophy based on belief in progress, the essential goodness of the human race, the autonomy of the individual, and standing for the protection of our political and civil liberties. Our so-called liberal government is anything but liberal. That should be obvious to everyone. Essentially, they have hijacked the term. The inherent goal of our current administration is to divide us by diversion from core issues, exacerbating issues about race, about gender, about Indigenous history and religion. They are even closing churches and charging and convicting ministers who continue to provide hope to the congregation during a time of great uncertainty, loss, and fear. When has that ever happened in a free country? Thanks to Trudeau, a master of low intrigue, O'Toole, a mere puppet with a limited track record, and especially Singh, a man with a more than questionable past, were being fed a constant mantra accusing us of racism in their relentless pursuit to divide us by shaming us. But my comment to them is, speak for yourselves. We the people are not being heard, not being respected. We are the ordinary citizens whose livelihoods are being destroyed. Just look around. Countless Canadian small businesses who have been forced out of business. Just look around. There are closed businesses, boarded up, mom and pop shops everywhere. In fact, the total number of forced closures of Canadian businesses is approaching an astronomical 300,000. And let me tell you something else. Our small businesses are the backbone of our economy, the largest employer by far, and a very significant generator of tax revenue, if not the biggest. This begs the question, is this outrageous failure of our current administration to protect our economy a result of gross incompetence? Not surprising when you look at the lack of pertinent training, experience, or education at the top. Or could this be a deliberate act of sabotage, of trying to throw us into the fangs of a dictatorship? You decide. Already the ancient philosophers had their doubts about democracy. Plato feared the false and braggart words of the manipulator and suspected democracy might be nothing more than a staging point on the road to tyranny. All those government officials who are creating this totalitarian dictatorship in our country and who think they are without accountability will be brought to account. That I'm sure of. But it will take a Herculean effort on our part to facilitate a course correction which is so desperately needed. We are the people whose rights and freedoms are being trampled upon and taken away one by one. It's important to keep one thing in mind, however. One man can make a difference. One woman can make a difference. Even one child can make a difference. But all of us together are unstoppable as long as we remain undivided and focused on our common goal. We're fighting once again for our freedom from tyranny, oppression, and persecution. We are fighting for our democracy. But we are powerful beings in a powerful universe, and we need to align ourselves with this positive energy and reclaim our God-given power. Diefenbaker's vision still stands. Canada, one purpose, its greatness from the Arctic to the Atlantic to the Pacific. One Canada where Canadians are in control of our economic and political destiny. There's much we can do. I urge each of you to consider running for office in our municipalities, our provincial government, our federal government, as I'm doing, and especially in the local school board to protect our children who are our future. You can attend rallies, you can talk to your friends and neighbors, you can buy Canadian-made products and support your local businesses and your local farmers. Especially do your own research that goes beyond mass media propaganda. Question the narrative. Did you know, for example, that our finance minister, Krista Freeland, has no education nor experience in finance? How do we have a finance minister without qualifications for the job? And how come she sits on the executive committee of the World Economic Forum, the organization that is run by Klaus Schwab, the mastermind behind the Great Reset? Talk about gross conflict of interest. The most valuable lesson I was taught when I got my degree at UBC was question everything, be informed, and most important of all, demand to speak up and demand to be heard. We will not go quietly into the night. We the people of Canada are the custodians of this country. We are the keepers of our independence, the crusaders for liberty who will proudly uphold our heritage of freedom. This is a time for greatness, for dignity, for unity, and most important of all, for freedom, our freedom. Let us work together to stem the decline of our democracy, because every man, every woman, every child in Canada has the right to a future of freedom. Happy Canada Day.